Let's talk about politics for a minute, shall we? Seems like the right time of year for that. My husband recently found an application for a free river rafting trip. And you know me, I'm always into adventure, so river rafting is obviously a yes. But here was the interesting part. They were pulling together people of who are on different sides of the political spectrum, pairing them up with each other. And then you spend a day on the river rafting, and they want to see if people on the opposite sides of the aisle can get along. Now, I will be the first to admit that in the past, I'm not sure I could have done very well at this. I am very passionate about things, and I used to not understand why people believed a different way. And I may not have been the most loving or understanding as I had these conversations. And as I thought about if we were to do this, like, how would I do? And I will say now, I think I would do great. I have many friends on the other side of the political aisle who I love dearly. I think they are some of the most amazing humans. And I don't get into arguments the way I would have in the past. So I wanted to share some things that I think would be helpful, especially at this time of year if you live in the US with the presidential election coming up, because sometimes it feels like if we're not in power, there's nothing we can do. And that creates fear, which we're going to talk about in a second. And I don't think that's true. I think if all of us change what's happening in our country, but also in the world, that we can make a vast difference if we all band together. So the first secret I'm going to share, it's not really a secret, the first tip, that's what I mean, is stop listening to the media. I think the media it's a business. They have a business model. They need people to click. They need to get people's attention. And negative headlines do that better than positive ones. That's just how it works. Their goal is it's not peace. It's not people getting along. It's a business model. And they want division and contention and conflict and hatred because it feeds their business model. So tip number one is stop listening to all of it. The more of that you put into your brain, the more likely that's where your brain's going to go when you are interacting with someone who doesn't agree with you. Number two is remembering that what people think is because of so many factors. It has to do with their background, their experiences, their upbringing, their culture, their trauma. There are so many things that have gone into creating the lens at which they view the world. And that lens is completely different than yours. They're not stupid. They're not ignorant. They're not all the things that we hear people say. They just are looking through a totally different lens than you are. That's it. Number three is fear. When people get into these political arguments that turn ugly, when people say mean things and don't treat people the way that we would want to be treated, it's likely because they're feeling fear. We're talking about important topics, right? I'm not talking about your favorite color. When we're arguing about politics, it's usually things that we hold dear to our heart, that are part of our value systems. And when someone threatens that, we don't feel safe. We fear what will happen in the future. We fear what will happen to our country or our children or our grandchildren. We fear what it will mean if their side of the argument takes control. It's all about fear. As humans, when we feel fear, we generally don't show up as the best versions of ourselves. So the first part of that is remembering this: if someone is arguing with you, or if someone is showing up in a way that is not their best self, it's remembering this is just a person who feels afraid. That's it. The second part of that is to work on your own fear. Because if you're feeling fear, you are likely not to show up as your best self and treat people the way that you want to be treated or the way you want to treat others either. So we have to remember both. Looking at your own fear, it takes doing some work. You might want to do it with a coach. It's walking into the darkness, walking into your deepest fears and really confronting them so that you can let go of fear and choose something else. Maybe that's faith, maybe that's certainty, maybe that's confidence. Choosing something that is more helpful than fear. Because again, humans don't generally show up as their best selves when they're feeling fear. I do think we can all make a difference. I think when we look at who people are, like who they truly are, it's okay if we disagree. We don't have to hate people that we disagree with. We don't have to argue. We don't have to say mean or ugly things. We can just remember they're looking through a different lens. They may be feeling fear if they're showing up as not their best selves. So my challenge to you is to consider, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be when you're interacting with people who disagree with you? And most especially, who do you want to be when that person maybe isn't showing up as their best self? Maybe when they are speaking not nicely or insulting you or saying horrible things about you because you believe differently than they do. Who do you want to be? And what will it take to be that person regardless? And I think part of that is learning how to manage your own fear so that you can be feeling peace or confidence or faith or courage or something that helps you to be who you want to be. We can all do this, my friends. The people in the media don't get to determine who we get to be in the world. And they don't get to determine the way our country goes or how we interact with each other. That is completely up to us. We have so much more power than we think we do. And we can influence those around us just by being our best self, the people that we want to be. All the humans are amazing. And we can love each other even when we disagree. Disagreeing doesn't have to actually be a problem. Let me know in the comments if you want to chat about this. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear what you are doing to be your best self when the world is kind of encouraging us not to be. Tell me what you think.